Hi friends, hi family. I came on here to talk to you about intergenerational trauma and how it breeds toxic dependency, the spirit of corruption, the culture of hustling and the excuse of theft. This intergenerational trauma results from years of oppression, rendering a mindset that believes that the world owes them something, and a multiplication of entitlement and self-disempowerment. But you know what? I've learned that there have been cases of leptospirosis, including fatalities. I just want to say, no, it's not Obia. It's not the judgment of God. It's not the JLP. It's not the PNP. It's not the government. It's the impact of the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, the flood waters that people have been wading in and even swimming in. I'm going to share some important information in this video. So stay with me now. Like, share, follow, and comment, so that this information can spread as far as possible. It's crucial. What looks like rivers and streams have been springing up everywhere, and it can look so inviting that you want to take a swim or walk through it to get to where you're going. But this is a warning. Floodwater is often heavily contaminated. It creates a breeding ground for bacteria, viruses, and parasites. These things you don't necessarily see with your naked eye. Parasites can have eggs that live in these waters. Contact can lead to various illnesses and infections. And I'm going to take you through a few of these illnesses and how they can be contracted and how you need to protect yourself. Floodwaters often come mixed with raw sewage, animal waste, and agricultural and industrial chemicals. In the aftermath of a hurricane, we hear that lots of dead animals have been on the land, and so the rotting flesh yields bacteria which gets into the floodwaters. So the floodwaters can spread diseases. The first of which I'll talk about today is leptospirosis, which is a bacterial infection from animal urine that enters the body through cuts or mucous membranes, the lining in your cheeks and so on, through your nasal passages, through your eyes, those wet areas. Leptospirosis can cause kidney or liver failure, can be hemorrhagic, which means that there is bleeding. And if your liver becomes damaged, then your blood might not be able to clot again. So even a little bruise, you can hemorrhage from. There can be internal bleeding. So we want to ensure that we are keeping safe. Remember now that leptospirosis comes from the urine of animals. So rats and other rodents and animals that are let loose, who are finding new places to live as they have been uprooted from their regular places. Then we have gastrointestinal illnesses. Bacteria and parasites can cause severe vomiting and diarrhea. And when we talk about gastrointestinal, so the stomach and the intestine, you get stomach problem. When you have vomiting and diarrhea, you can have dehydration. And if the bacteria is spreading and you're dehydrated, then you don't really have anything to flush your system, especially when there's a shortage of water. And the water itself might be contaminated. And you can also get typhoid fever, which is waterborne as well. And a big one is hepatitis A, which is a viral infection from the hepatitis A virus that can affect the liver. And this is highly contagious through contaminated water and food. These things are important. An important message to bear in mind for your health and your safety after Hurricane Melissa, after the ravaging and the conditions that exist in the land. And I want us to pay attention so that we can be safe, so that we can prevent the spread of infection. So I just talked about some waterborne illnesses. Now we can end up with wound and skin infections because bacteria from water can infect cuts, scrapes, or open wounds, leading to serious conditions, and even sepsis. Sepsis is when bacteria gets into your blood should not have any bacteria in it. So if bacteria gets in your blood and multiply, then you can have multiple organ and system failures. So people, you shouldn't be wading around in floodwaters. And even if the floodwater look clear and nice and it look like you know where it's coming from, you can't just drink it. You don't be swimming in it, because you will ingest it and get sick. Then there's tetanus, which can come from puncture wounds that are exposed to contaminated soil or water, and this can lead to tetanus, and we call that lockjaw. It can be fatal. It requires prompt medical attention and what they call a tetanus shot, a booster of the tetanus shot. How this works is that puncture wounds, sometimes if a nail sticks you, this is very important too, where zincs have been blown off and people are at risk for stepping on a nail. And if a puncture wound is deep, then tetanus is what we call an anaerobic bacteria. So there is no oxygen in that wound because it's deep, and the tetanus multiplies and it causes lockjaw because it makes the muscles rigid. It is potentially fatal. And of course, we have fungal infections. So prolonged exposure to dampness and contaminated water can cause fungal infections like athlete's foot, ringworm, scalp issues, especially when people are sharing spaces in close proximity and the clothes remain damp. We don't sun it out, we don't clean it. It's important to practice hygiene. Take this something them, wash them out, sun them as best as possible. Some things that may have come in contact with flood waters, you might need to throw them out and start afresh. I know it's difficult, but your life might depend on it. How do we prevent the spread of these infections? 1, avoid contact. So don't walk, swim, or play in flood waters. Children should also be kept away. Keep an eye on the children. They don't know the dangers of flood waters, especially the water that look nice and clear and like river, and they're diving and having fun. It's dangerous because the water is very likely contaminated with the things that I've already said, the bacteria, the viruses, the parasites, and fecal matter, because there is sewage, and this can lead to serious infections and disease such as cholera. And if you have stool that look like rice water, you know, when you wash the rice and pour off the water, that kind of stool, that is serious. So you have to make sure that if you have to dig a hole and do your thing in and cover it up, do that. We have to make sure that we are protected and we are preventing the spread of diseases and infections, because people are under immense stress because of the passage of Hurricane Melissa, and they're suffering so much loss and grief. Stress has an impact on your immune system, and it lowers your ability to fight certain things that you usually exposed on a regular basis, and it becomes harmful and you get more prone to infection. So I'm always going to tell you that we have to keep a positive mindset, because a positive mindset helps to strengthen our immunity. Your physical, your mental, your emotional, your psychological, your spiritual, none of it is separate. You're a whole being, we're whole beings. So we have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. Now, going back to the spread of infections, you need to wash thoroughly. So wash your hands and any exposed skin with soap and clean, warm water, if you have it, immediately after any contact. The thing though, don't wait around if you don't have conditions to boil water. Get water with a little soap, a little Dettol can help to destroy some of the microorganisms, the bacteria, the virus, to keep you safe. You want to keep any open cuts covered with a waterproof dressing. If a wound comes in contact with flood water, wash it thoroughly and seek medical advice about a potential tetanus booster. So that's the vaccine, the tetanus shot, the lockjaw shot, so that you can be safe. An important thing, I've heard that people have been looting and moving away with goods from certain shops that may have been exposed to flood waters. Please don't collect things that have been exposed to flood waters and sell it to people. You can't do that. Anything that has come in contact with flood waters, any food, you have to throw it away. You can't use it. And I don't think I should have to tell anybody this, but don't drink flood waters. Even if it look like it come from a top of a stream and it look clear and clean, don't drink it, folks. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and I know that people are struggling, but we can avoid some of these infections. We don't have to sit down there and say, we want help, nobody's coming to help us. Start cleaning up your environs. Don't just think about food and how you're going to collect food and you're going to hustle it and you're going to make a money. Clean up your environment and stay safe, stay clean, stay healthy, positive mindset. And I'm going to repeat, do not wade in flood waters. If you have to go somewhere and it's flooded, wear a water boot. Sometimes you just have to steer where you are until the floodwaters recede. I know that it sounds crazy, folks, but it's better to stay where you are, bear a little hunger, than to end up in the morgue because you're wading through contaminated water that have fecal matter, that have bacteria from dead bodies of animals. People, it's a rough time and you have to take care of yourself. All right? All right. So walk good. Remember, like, comment, share, spread the word, share it in any way possible. We don't want another soul to die from leptospirosis, from any disease, from lockjaw. We don't want anybody to contract cholera. This is not to scare anybody. This is to just bring awareness that anything is possible when the land is in the condition that it is in. So we don't want people to be hurt or harmed or suffer worse fate than they're suffering. The worst thing that can happen is after you're trying to pick up the pieces, after the devastation and damage, is to have to bury somebody from a preventable disease. So take heed to what I'm saying and take care of yourself now. Remember, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bone. If each one takes care of the person in front of and beside him, every man will be taken care of. All right? Remember now to share, spread the word, follow for more of this content. We're looking out for our brothers and sisters because we are our brothers' keepers. Take care.